Well, my favorite is seeing clockwork mechanisms or anything like clockwork mechanisms and movement or transparent pipes for your kitchen or your bath, and then all of that to be transparent so that you could, I don't know, if you pulled the plug over here, you could see it well through the side of the bath panel through transparent pipes, the water whirling around the, yeah, see-through hose pipes. I don't know, don't really give it that much of a meh, but bath water especially, and I don't know, the way it just, it's different. It's got different, I don't know, say consistency there. But still, clockwork, moving, whirling, fan movement and mechanisms. A large door with nothing but just moving cogs in it, all different sizes, and I wouldn't mind it to not do anything, to be honest. It could have a clock on there, but like over crazy amounts of cogs in it, and it just be powered by like a 5-volt USB. Right? Do you know idea? Or motor, yeah? So, and it just move all the cogs inside a transparent door. That would be pretty awesome. Like inside your house. Well, I don't know. I'd be mesmerized by that. And then if you could put lights on the end of all the bits so that it spun like the old Pro-Yos. You know, when it started to spin, it started to come up with all different lights on it. And all different, yeah, that's something, that would be a modern version. But two clockwork mechanisms back to back should make an artificial, trying to move anything in space is kind of tricky, because the smaller object, I believe, unless it's dense and heavy, wants to rotate instead of the larger object. So it becomes quite tricky. But if you have two forces working against each other, you then make an artificial stiffness that stops the middle from spinning out, and the outward ones then begin to spin. I believe. I believe. And therefore, a ship, a large geode, would be dual clocks, and even more than that on there, because you would put it on a polygon, but more of a star version, a 3D version of each one having cogs on the other. That's interesting. To get movement. But in the center of all of that, I could sit and watch all of those, the movement. And then you can get those little planets, all the planets of the solar system. And they can all move at different, yeah, that's very nice. And then the moons whirl around those ones. But imagine one, the universe. Oh, all of that movement, the galaxies, the stars, the planets, the moons, the Oort clouds, all the debris, just that movement. Oh, yes, just to be able to see all of that in its entirety at the speed of, I don't know, this, as opposed to being here, seeing it. It's nice perspective, but I prefer another perspective, to seeing it all move in a faster speed, because you are really slowed down to come here. It's all slow, but to see it in a much more truer form, because our time warp compared to a snail's time warp, compared to the universal time warp, because you know we're not living at the same speed as the universe. We're living in the universe, living in its speed. You're living at your speed. All that movement. All of that movement. Anyway, I'm sorry, let's get a little lost in that. I like it. I like it a lot. But to see it in not the universe's speed, but see it in a even more grander. So if you were even bigger than the universe and your time warp was, I don't know, I guess you'd be smaller. I don't know, but even still, your perspective to be able to see it moving like one of those, I can't remember what they're called now. The one where you see the solar system. What's that called? All of those that move around. I forgot what it's called. Anyway, one of those. But if you saw the universe in that entirety, and then you could be in control of how fast it operated, or
I can't imagine the universe. I
You can't?
No,
Oof.
like moving all
Gorgeous.
of it
All of it
so
moving.
Big. So see this.
But have the awareness to see every part of it.
Yeah.
All at the same time. All of it.
Mm-hmm.
Without missing a single star or asteroid or grain of sand. You see it all in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine that movement? That means every leaf, every animal, every life form, let's say. Planets, stars. It's very slow here.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of annoying, but at the same time, appreciate its perspective. Could you imagine seeing all of that?
Yeah.
It's mesmerizing.
It's definitely beautiful. All of that.
Yeah, it'd probably confuse you to see that in double. One at one stage, one at another. And then it switches. Whereas one has left that stage, another one is entering it, which one is left in the opposite ends of the spectrum. It's like a lotus flower, two of them. One is closing whilst the other is opening. The other one begins to close and the other one begins to open. One begins to close, the other one opens. Back and forth. Transitioning. Pulsating. If it's really fast. Like a strobe. But imagine you seeing that all oscillate. No, rotate, turn, twizzle, whatever you want to call it. Think of your word. But imagine if you had a perception changer. So, like a motor at 5 volts, and you see it all jostling around, yes? It's going this speed. But if you gave it 10 volts, it then starts to go at this speed. But imagine if you had a perception or alternator where you could adjust your perception, your time's warp, make it either more or less. That's what life in different life forms is like. One life form is set to this, one life form is set to that, one life form is set to that. Well, what if you were the one in control of that setting? What if you were not only in control of that setting, but your own perceived time warp could be any of those things? If you learn how to break them up, break them apart. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? What a device that would be to make that. You'd love it. But which setting would you pick? Well, it depends on what you were doing, I guess. Because going faster would be better when you wanted to think about something. There were more rapid thoughts. Going slower would be much like you would reverse excitement. So you're going to have a day's worth of exams doing loads of boring stuff. How slow would you reckon the day would go? In those times you would want to change your dial into the times when you're at a fairground, arcade, and before you know it, a whole day's whizzed by. Before you blink, you realise it. I guess because you were in the moment. But you're kind of outside the moment when you're going through exam time or a hard time. Everything just slows down. Well, you are in some way in control of that. Yeah. It's a really weird thing. And I could show you how. It's quite an interesting... hard to master sometimes, but when you get it, you get it. Where you can bring your warped into the excited times, so it slows down, savoring every moment of that day. Wow. And then when you're in those times of high stress, you want to speed it up. And then the days begin to That's day and night, by the way. Each click is one from one to the other is day and night. But it kind of comes at a price. Life is like a sand in 2 vials, yes? Well, actually in 1 vial, emptying into another. You speed that up. Interesting. So, when you look back on your life, you'll know that you lightning stroke through those moments. So, is it a gift or is it a curse? I don't think so. So, but seeing the universe like that, 2 of them, why not 3, 4, 5? And then how many twists on that dial could you do for each life form? And then I guess the answer is, at the back of that, which one is experienced it in the best way? No? Yes. Or intelligent life forms, which ones experienced that in the best sort of format, optimal? And then, if you could choose it, which one would you pick? The times when you were at bliss and happy and everything was just whizzing by. Here you are. You reach a little bit of heaven, right? Black hole and a star. Which one would you live around? Star. Is it true that if you travel 5 years around a black hole and come back to the Earth, 500 years would have whizzed by? Oh, it might be more than that. Is it that?
They say if you travel to universe somewhere and come back, it's a long time here and short time there.
Yes.
But it's hard to imagine.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine because you'll still be in the same perception you're in. But I don't think you will.
But you can't imagine that perception, can you?
Yes.
Maybe you can, but I can't.
There's good reasons for that, I reckon. Yeah. It's interesting. I like it. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this one up because this was a beautiful conversation, to be honest. I like this one. I'll treasure this one with you. This was a good one. I like it.